So recently I watched a documentary I highly recommend called Good Fortune, and it's the true story of how John Paul DiGiorgio, founder of Paul Mitchell Systems and Patron Vodka, among many other companies, founded Paul Mitchell Systems, and really the backstory of who he was, who he is as a person, he's still alive, who he is as a person, and how he got to have his fortune. And he's a pretty good guy. So I'm watching this documentary and I'm completely mind blown, and about 95% of the way through the documentary something hit me. John Paul DiGiorgio's entire life was predicated on contribution. When he was very, very young, like 6, 7, 8 years old or something or another, his mom didn't have a lot of money, and he actually never met his father. Now I can relate to that, and I know how hard that can be. So he had a single mom, and she didn't make a lot of money, and they were walking by those army people that like take food and clothes. No, they take clothes for like homeless people. It's something with the army, whatever. And they ring the little bell in front of the supermarket, and they're walking by, and they had no money, and she gave like a few dimes and nickels. Now, back in the day, that's like a long time ago, maybe like the 60s or something, or the 50s, and he was like, wait, why are we doing that? We don't have any money. I could buy this, I could buy that, I could buy that. And mom said, yes, you could buy all of that. However, you should give even when you don't have a lot. And that idea of contribution stuck with John Paul DiGiorgio. Now, coincidentally, to this day, Paul Mitchell Systems has some of the lowest turnover of any company ever. Now, recently I was asked to speak at Paul Mitchell College, so I don't have a date on that yet. And I was really excited because their company culture is something that people know about, how aligned they are in their values, and how indoctrinated they are for positive values, not negative values. And it was so mind-blowing to me that at a young age, this happened. And I understand neurology and how we grow up, and how between 7 and 12, those are the formative years. Like something happened to you to make you who you are today based on 7 and 12. So all of a sudden, this epiphany explodes in my head that the meaning of business in life is contribution. Because if we look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs that go physiological, safety, love and belonging, interdependence, and self-actualization, I'll say it slower, your basic needs, food and water, your basic shelter needs, and then feeling of belonging and acceptance and love, and then feeling really good at something like a skill set, right? Love being emotional, skill set being logical, and then that love of yourself and your environment and you feeling really good at something, you move into the next stage, which is meaning. You can place meaning now on something, or purpose, self-actualization. So as humans, we can't actually become purposeful until we feel comfortable in our environment and those we work with, and we get really good at something so we can contribute. And it was this massive epiphany came to me, that the meaning of business and life, and I say business and life because business is just a tool that we use to fulfill our life vision, mission, and values, or it should be. It's just that tool. Well, the meaning is to cooperate, to learn, and to contribute. Now I say cooperate because let's say you're a salesperson and a customer. And this goes for parent, offspring, boss, employee, right? Or leader, employee, mentor, mentee, observer, and observed. It's all the same. That cooperation from a salesperson point of view is not telling the customer what they should buy, but cooperation is asking the questions necessary to know if they have a problem or not, both emotionally and logically, meaning want and needs. Qualifying them. Why? Because when they talk and you listen, what does that do? It shows them that you love and appreciate them. And it makes you feel good. So you're cooperating with them, and they're cooperating with you. And it's a two-way street, because once you have that information, you can know if you can help them. Well, once you're a salesperson, they're the customer. Once you qualify properly, now the question is, can you teach them what they need to do, or how your how your company solves their problem, right? How your company and your product solves their problem. Can you story tell? Can you use analogies? Can you use metaphors in quotes to help them learn? Not you telling them, but them telling themselves. See, on the highest level of communication, we don't tell people what to do. They tell themselves. We create inception. So just following along by what we know based on current day neuroscience and psychology from the 40s, Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, it's pretty obvious. It starts with cooperation. Because when we cooperate as a salesperson by asking those questions and they give us those answers, they feel good about it. We feel good about it because now we have the information to really help solve their problem. And that's love and belonging. Now to get to interdependence, because that's emotional, to get to interdependence, which is logical, we've got to be able to story tell, so then they say, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And once they believe that it makes a lot of logical sense, they will pay for it. They will buy it. And this is where the contribution comes. As a salesperson, as a business person, when you solve a problem, when you feed me a chicken sandwich and I'm hungry and I eat it, now I'm not hungry, you solve my problem, I'm going to pay you. So after they learn, right, which is after they are cooperative, because you're cooperative and you learn, they contribute, they pay you money. And you've contributed because you solved their problem. And if we look at parent, offspring, teacher, student, any observer and observed, any counterpart, when I'm cooperative, I'm learning, and I'm coming from a mindset of contribution, both emotionally, logically, spiritually, and materially, I win. I'm going to move up to that self-actualization. I'm going to feel in purpose because I've cooperated, I've learned, and I've contributed, and vice versa. And no matter what, if both parties do this properly, it creates equilibrium or abundance. Because what is a business? We've talked about this 10,000 times. I'm going to keep saying it until the whole world gets it. A business is an individual's initial vision to a solution of a problem, and the profit is the margin in between what it costs to solve the problem and what comes in. And as soon as that individual orates that vision, it creates a cultural alignment, which is a metaphorical ecosystem of shared belief created by that individual. And that's with the employees and that's with the customers. With the customers, it's the brand, and with the employees, it's the leadership. The meaning of life, guys, is to cooperate with one another, because we're not spiders. We don't eat our babies. To learn and to contribute. To cooperate, to learn, and to contribute. And this all came from watching that documentary. I don't know how that happened, because they didn't say anything about this. It's why it's important to cooperate with yourself, feed information in your mind so you can start using that conductor of electricity, that brain to start thinking, so you can contribute to the world your new ideas that may make their lives better.